Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our weekly predictions video. And today we are doing our week 2 NFL predictions. And week 1 was interesting. The first half of the week, I was like, wow, this is one of the most boring week 1s I've ever watched. And then I was like, okay, no, it's not. Several games into overtime. Field goals are now not guaranteed. It was a fantastic week 1. Like all week 1s, generally some great games, and hopefully week 2 proves to be better. And we'll get into the Thursday night game because that is going to start off with a bang. But as always, do make sure you guys subscribe for more NFL content. We'll be predicting every single week, and then obviously playoffs. So that's much in the future. So we don't want to think about that now. And as always, if you guys want to predict along with us, comment 3 games down below that you want to pick for week 2, and we'll make sure to reply to all comments. And as always, let us know what you think of our picks down below. But I am Kean McDermott. I am joined by now all TheeSportsScoop members, Dylan Shalom. Dylan, you had quite a week 1.
Yeah, that was a good week 1. I was excited, had a good time. My Miami Dolphins won. It was a good time.
There we go. And then we have my fellow Giants fan, Charlie Nidell, who was not on week 1, but he rejoins the show for week 2. Charlie, this is really your week 1. This is your debut.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little upset to miss out on week 1 predictions because, I look forward to that every time. But week 2, I'm ready to come out. I think I may have the best record of the 4 of us after week 1, after most of the games are finished. But I'm just excited because the Giants won. I'll take my loss on predicting the Titans in that one.
And Suraj Kadali, as always, and probably the most upset out of all of us because his team is horrible.
Yep, I'm the loser here. More mainly my team is the loser. Obviously, I'll get more into that. Dylan, we want to talk about your fantasy team this week?
All right, this isn't a fantasy video. This is a prediction video.
All right, but yeah, my team's the loser, but I'll go more into that now. But overall, I'm not having a good day.
It's all right, though. We'll hopefully regain our traction here with our predictions here. So as always, make sure you guys stick around, follow us on social media. And without further ado, let's get into the picks. All right. Well, again, we talked about that Rams-Bills game being a fantastic Thursday night game. This is arguably better. And I was saying it's one of the best Thursday night games I've ever seen, one of the best openers I've seen. But 8:15 Thursday night, the Chargers play the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams that just obviously started off the season fantastic. The Chiefs, who needs Tyreek Hill? Am I right? Like, really, who needs him? They looked absolutely fantastic. That being said, against a Cardinals team that obviously was missing DeAndre Hopkins, is a team that, at least for me, I wasn't a massive fan of. But Dylan, I'll go to you first. What do you think about this game?
I think this is going to be a shootout for the ages. I don't see any of these offenses really letting up. And it's weird because I didn't really think the Chargers offense was that electric today. I thought Eckler didn't look that great. Mike Williams was invisible. Keenan Allen got hurt. And I still think that Justin Herbert was able to play with his third string toys and make the Raiders defense look like a bottom tier defense. Well, I don't think they are a bottom tier defense. I think Justin Herbert played that game perfectly. And for that reason, I'm going to give this game to the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert going into that game and now coming into this game with the better weapons than the Chiefs have, and then that defense really worked well today. I'm going to give it to the Chargers, which pains me to say.
Charlie, what do you think?
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Dylan. So you said I don't think the Chargers offense looked particularly good today. Justin Herbert looked really good today. But his main weapons were pretty much non-existent. Keenan Allen did have 66 yards, but only 4 catches.
He was hurt. He had all that in the first quarter. He got hurt.
Yeah, and then Mike Williams just showed up twice to get his hands on the ball. Touchdown passes to DeAndre Carter, Gerald Everett, and Alexander Horvath is not going to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
It doesn't matter who you throw the ball to, though. As long as you're getting in the end zone, it doesn't matter.
But only 3 touchdowns is not going to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
And
it doesn't mean that just because they only scored 3 touchdowns against the Raiders doesn't mean it's a 3 touchdown game against them.
No, it doesn't. But if their big players don't show up, they can't possibly score many more than 3 touchdowns.
But Mike Williams always shows up in prime time. Keenan Allen should be back. Austin Eckler should have
Williams is the most inconsistent player in the league potentially.
But he didn't have a good game this week.
Always showing up in yeah, but he didn't have a good game this week, but he doesn't just go every other week.
He shows up in prime time.
He shows up against the Chiefs. His best game was against the Chiefs in that OT winner with Phillip Rivers.
I have to say the Chiefs looked far more impressive to me than the Chargers.
I agree with
today.
you. I
And
agree with
I
you.
think that the Chiefs took it to a better team. I think the Cardinals are actually
No.
the Cardinals are probably a comparable team to the Raiders, in my opinion. I
No.
But
think
the Raiders
Cardinals
didn't
and
look great
Raiders-
today. The Raiders
The
didn't
Raiders
look
didn't
great.
look great,
Didn't
but
look
the
great today,
Cardinals
but the
looked
Cardinals
atrocious.
looked worse.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But
Whatever, this
Either
is
way,
minuscule
the Chiefs
stuff.
put 44 points past this Cardinals team, which no matter who you're playing against, 44 points is impressive, maybe except for the Jets. But I just I'm
Sir, just
I hate
can't
to
get
drag
away
this
from
on,
it.
but it's a Cardinals secondary made up of Marco Wilson,
and it's a
and
Chiefs receiving core made up of
Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce.
Schuster.
Juju Smith-Schuster wasn't great today.
No,
Juju
he was fine.
Smith-Schuster
He
did
was
not
6 for
look very
79.
good.
He was 6 for
Yeah,
79.
but he
That's
also
not bad.
fumbled.
That's true. That's true.
But Travis Kelce
Juju
caught passes.
Smith-Schuster
Sky
did not
Moore
look
caught
super
passes.
impressive. Yes, but you're naming players. Travis Kelce aside, this is not some impressive Chiefs receiving core. It's not.
I don't know why you're arguing for the Chiefs then.
Because I'm saying they were able to put 44 points past the Cardinals. Your argument was that it's because the Cardinals secondary is bad.
I think the Cardinals'
I'm
entire
saying-
defense is bad.
44 points is an impressive feat no matter how
No,
bad the
I agree
defense
with you.
is.
And I think the Chiefs had a great week. But I think the Chargers going against the Chiefs defense, who gave up, I think, 21 points, was it?
21.
21 points to the Cardinals when they pretty much had a third of Marquise Brown and James Conner going against them. It's not a great defensive showing.
So then it's not a great defensive showing for the Raiders because they barely had to face anybody good.
Yeah, and the Chargers still won. It's not a great defensive showing from the
Right,
Raiders.
because it's not a good defensive showing.
All right.
That's the
Well,
only reason
yeah,
the
we're
Chargers.
that
debating-
being that
that
being
is-
that.
But I'm going to give the
This has
Chiefs at
been
the at
a very
Arrowhead. I
long
just don't
debate.
think the Chargers will go into Arrowhead and win this one. I
I
don't know
hope
what
you're
the
right, 'cause I
injury
don't like the
concern is
Chargers,
with Keenan
but-
Allen, though.
It's
All right.
definitely a tough one to predict because I think the only way that people are giving obviously this Chargers team that win, and Dylan, I'm assuming you're giving them the win, is because obviously the Chiefs have lost some key pieces, but they look like they didn't lose a step against the Cardinals team. And again, the Cardinals team is bad. Obviously the defense is not good, but this Chiefs team at Arrowhead, this is a tough one. I don't even know. I'm gonna go for the Chiefs as well. I think again, it's just the kind of thing where good players and not even good players like Patrick Mahomes, players like Travis Kelce, coaches like the Chiefs coaches, it's not like one season they're as good as they are and then one season they're average. They're going to be just as good. And I
In
think
no
they'll
way
go
on
in.
earth am I calling the Chiefs average. I think they're going to be the division winners. And it sucks that I'm making them go 0-2 in my predictions because I had the Cardinals beating them somehow.
I don't know why.
But it
Did
was,
you
it
see?
was-
And
it
you
was
just
a
said the
spur
Cardinals
of the
looked like
moment
they
Kyler
were
Murray take. I don't know what the thought process was, but I just think that Justin Herbert, the way he played today, and then regaining the weapons on offense, because he played that way with a much weaker receiving core than the Chiefs had. And I think just regaining everything, I think he'll be able to get the job done. That's not to say that the Chiefs are bad. That's all I got to say.
I think I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I think I'm gonna keep it concise. I
You're
think
really making me root for the Chargers now.
they're such a complete team. I think on all levels. I think you could argue maybe the receiving core, but I think when you have Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter who you're throwing to because he'll find a way to get the ball. You got 5 touchdowns week 1, offensive line, one of the best in football. Defense looked really good week 1. I think they're a more complete team than the Chargers, even if the Chargers have more star power. And I think it's close though, because Herbert's great too, but I think they have the slightly better quarterback. So give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one. It's a very tough one. I don't think any of us are saying this
Yeah.
confidently, but again, I think for me, what tips it over slightly is being at Arrowhead. I can see the Chargers winning, and I think at the end of the day, like I'm definitely not as much of a Justin Herbert praiser as other people are. I was honestly more of a Burrow fan and someone who thought Burrow was better. Obviously, that has slightly changed due to what happened this week, but I think it's a Chiefs team that's going to go and win. I don't think it's a game they'll drop this early. I think if the Chiefs are going to show that like Achilles heel, it's going to be later in the season when they don't have Tyreek Hill for those playoff games to just get that extra push. And I think early in the season, they're going to be just as good. But we'll move on now to another interesting one, and not as interesting. We'll move into the 1 p.m. window where we have the New England Patriots facing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who got the upset win against the Bengals. And obviously the Steelers defense, which somehow I thought would not be as good, was absolutely fantastic in Cincinnati. Is it just that easy? Is it just going to, for me, it's just that easy. I think the Steelers defense is going to cause New England a multitude of problems. So I'm going Pittsburgh against the Patriots quite handedly.
I think the Steelers will win, but I think here's the issue. TJ Watt is likely out for most of the season
Yeah.
now.
No, he's
And
not.
he
Tore
is
his pec,
tore
yeah.
his pec.
Oh my God.
So you're
No
relying
way.
on such a lack of depth at edge because you got Alex Highsmith, who I like. I think Alex Highsmith.
Alex
is solid.
Highsmith, I think he had 3 sacks today.
Yeah, he had a good game, but
Alex
no
Highsmith has
T-
always been good.
He's always been good, but I think he had a really good game, and I think he's a solid player. But no TJ Watt, what that will do to a defense, it's going to be such a tough game. Good thing is they're going against offensive coordinator Matt Patricia, and I think also they might be without Najee as well. I don't know. He might be there. I think that it's supposed to be not too serious. But either way, I think the Steelers have more talent on paper. They've got a good coaching staff. Give me Pittsburgh here.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh as well. And I think the injuries might be a big problem, but New England just didn't look good at all today. They couldn't get by a pretty solid Miami defense, and I think Pittsburgh's defense is top 5 in the league. I can't see them
without TJ out now.
Even without TJ, I would say they're a top 5 defense in the league because Minka Fitzpatrick looked like a different player.
Minka looked like
he won
them the game.
He won
the
them
pick six. The blocked
he looked like one of the best players in football today. But the Patriots just don't have enough firepower to get past that defense. And I do think that once the Steelers get acclimated to having a more mobile QB in Mitch Trubisky, once Deontay Johnson really gets a read on his throws, which should have been happening during training camp if they hadn't been putting Pickett with the ones, putting Rudolph with the ones.
Looks like he had a
they
better
should have been doing that, and it should have been much more thorough and simple for them to beat the Bengals with all those turnovers. They got the job done, and I think they're going to carry that over and win against the Patriots.
So, unfortunately, because I hate doing this, but I have to disagree with Dylan once again. I think I guess I'm disagreeing with all of you, but I just think that for me, the Patriots, as you said, don't have the firepower to beat the Steelers. I don't think they need a lot of offensive firepower to beat the Steelers. And here's why. I don't think the Steelers' offense is good enough to make the Patriots have to score loads of points. The Steelers made today's game really, really tough on themselves. Joe Burrow turned the ball over 5 times, and they still went to overtime. That shouldn't be happening. I don't think Mitch Trubisky is good enough as the Steelers starting quarterback to force Bill Belichick to, hang on, reconsider my entire defense because Trubisky is scaring me. Because you're saying the Steelers defense is great, but so is the Patriots.
Trubisky is
I know
horrible.
they lost. I know the Patriots lost key members of their defense this offseason. But a Bill Belichick run defense is not going to just cede to Mitch Trubisky and the Steelers.
I'm not really going to say that the whole offense is Mitch Trubisky. There's lots of receiving options. If Najee Harris is back, that's something you have to take account.
But the receiving options are there to be thrown to by Mitch Trubisky.
You could say the same thing, and I know all of you guys like to hate Tua Tagovailoa, but they were able to get past the Patriots defense in spite of him. I don't think he had
But Tua's a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky.
All right, that's what I was looking for. Got him.
Tua is a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. I have no trouble saying that. He is.
Nah.
He absolutely is. Mitch Trubisky is more mobile and he's faster, but Tua is a better quarterback. And I just don't think this is going to be I think probably a really low scoring game. I think neither offense is very good, but both defenses are very strong. The Patriots is because they're coached by Bill Belichick, and the Steelers because they have some really good defensive players. I think the Patriots and they're coached by Mike Tomlin. And I just think that the Patriots and Bill Belichick will have what it takes to just prevail in this game. Because if you leave Bill Belichick away back into a game where his quarterbacks turn the ball over 5 times, he's going to take it. So I'm going to go.
So there we go. We got enough. That's good. We're getting some diversity in the picks here, but we'll move on now to Dylan. You should probably just leave at this point, but the Carolina Panthers play the New York Giants. Dylan, if I am wrong, in mythology, are Panthers the slayers of giants, or is that what it is?
I think you're right here. I think the Giants would destroy the Panthers in mythology. And this is a really tough game to predict because I think the Panthers played a pretty solid game today. I will say this, Dylan. We meet in a common ground. We got Baker's prediction absolutely spot on. Absolutely, yeah. And I don't think the Panthers played a bad game. I don't think Baker played a bad game, but I think the Giants played an excellent game. And I'm not ready to say that this is a team that's a good team, but I was convinced by them. I thought that the defense managed Derrick Henry very, very well. I thought the defense managed Ryan Tannehill very well. And Saquon Barkley looked like he was back at Penn State. So I think I'm going to give it to the Giants. And I can't believe I'm doing that because I thought going into the season, the Giants are a bottom 3 team in the league. I thought the Panthers were playoff contenders, but the Giants convinced me.
Yeah, I'm going the same thing. I mean, Saquon 194 yards and a touchdown. Or did he get 2? No, he had 1. It was the 2-point conversion.
1 in the 2-pointer.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. I mean, we've been saying this. He is arguably the best running back. Obviously, they're very good running backs, but you can argue he's the best running back in the league when completely healthy. He's absolutely fantastic. Now, is this Titan defense, especially run defense, something special? No, it's not. But Saquon was just electric. I mean, you look at a guy who obviously has faced really 2 years of injury and not being able to play. And I think, pray to God he stays healthy. He adds wins. He wins games. They're not a lot. Again, there's the elite running backs that win teams game, like Derrick Henry, like Dalvin Cook, like those kind of guys. Saquon Barkley is 100% one of those guys. And obviously in kind of at the top, running backs are so good in this league. You look at the top 5 guys, they are so elite. And Saquon is right there. He wins us games. And obviously, like you said, the defense was great. I think again, Dable, I think, Daniel Jones needed a little bit of yelling at. I think he needed to kind of get his head screwed on. I like how Dable brings that intensity. And I think, again, I love the aggressiveness of going for that 2-point. Did I agree with it? No, I was yelling at my TV. I was like, I swear to God, if they don't convert this, but they did. And it was Saquon and it all kind of panned out. So I'm going to go for the Giants as well here.
Yeah. I've always been a Panthers hater just because I think everyone thinks, oh yeah, they're going to be playoff contenders because they got Baker. No, they're not. Yeah, I don't think they're really that good of a team. And I think the Giants aren't necessarily a talented team, but they seem to be a really well-coached team. And I think Dable's a big part of that. I think they really the culture seems a lot better there. I think, like I said, that defense showed up without Thibodeau. If they get him back within this week or the next few weeks, I think that's going to be huge for them. And I think it's 2 teams that are not great, but I think the Giants are a better coach team easily. And I think they're heading in the right direction. So give me the Giants.
Yeah. So gut tells me to just go with the Giants right here, right? Because I'm a Giants fan and it seems like the simple pick. Even you all pick the Giants. But knowing myself as a Giants fan, I seem to always be disappointed by my New York Giants, right? It happens. Serge, I'm sure you get it. Dylan, I'm sure you get it. It happens to all of us. And that's what makes me hesitate to pick this one. And I think what's going to sway me is if I asked you all who the best player on the Panthers is right now, it would be an easy answer, correct? Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you'd all say McCaffrey. And if I asked you the best player on the Giants is, I'm assuming you'd all say Barkley. Yeah. And I think the difference and what is going to make me pick the Giants in this one is I think the Giants aren't scared to use Barkley. And the Panthers are a little bit scared of McCaffrey right now.
Yeah.
McCaffrey touched the ball 14 times today. Barkley touched it 24 times. Now, 24 times in one game is not some crazy workhorse number. But it sure is a lot more than 14, which is, borderline splitting carries. I think if the Panthers are going to be scared to use Christian McCaffrey and they're going to put the ball in Baker's hands a lot more, they're going to have trouble getting wins this season. And I think the only way they're going to win is with Christian McCaffrey. And the Giants really impressed me today. I was scared out of my mind multiple times during that game, but I think the Giants are just right now a better team than the Panthers. And Dable seems to have a lot of faith in that offense. And I think what impressed me most about the Giants today was the way they rebounded from being down 13-0 at half. To be down 13-0 at half and come out in the second half and do what they did shows that Dable has a lot of confidence in this team. Going for that 2-point conversion, confidence in Daniel Jones, confidence in the offense. That's what I like to see from my coach. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Jesus Christ, what has happened? We all just picked the Giants to win.
I know. I think that might be the first time in prediction history.
First time, but
that's got to be first.
We spoke about a game that really is not going to be that interesting for way too long, but we'll move on now to our next game where we have not another quite boring one of 2 backup quarterbacks, and that's the New York Jets who go and face the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, the Jets, not the performance they wanted today, and they started off very well. I think it was defensively. I was like, wow, this defense looks excellent, and obviously it plummeted, and it didn't plummet, but I mean, we lost, at one point it was 24-3. So obviously something went wrong. Again, I would kind of attribute it more to Flacco, but
no, I would say, should I just go? I'm going to say, I think the defense was excellent because you're going against a premier quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who I think is consensus top 10. Everyone would say so. And we really limited him on the ground. We limited the Ravens as a whole on the ground. And I think it just wasn't really that it wasn't really their day. We played really well on defense, but offensively, we kept on giving the ball because the main issue was Flacco. He just didn't look good at all.
But Serge, what did you say
Completely
was going to
immobile.
happen about Flacco when he played the Ravens?
Yeah,
Just
what was-
I didn't
please-
say that. I didn't say that. I said
okay.
it could happen.
No,
I said it
I think
could.
I remember revenge game.
Yeah, I
somewhere
think
in
I
there. Is
remember.
that
I
right?
think I remember
That's
like
just like that's
4
the
touchdowns.
joke.
Flacco
I
is
didn't say
elite.
that. I did not say
Yeah.
that. I
You did
not.
though, and
I
you
did.
did.
No, I
I
didn't.
was
We have
sitting
several
at lunch
people who-
when you said
No,
it.
I didn't. I did not say that. I said it could. It could because
Yeah,
Mike
but-
White
Oh,
did
the
it. It could
diplomatic
happen.
answer. Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah, but
That's
Serge,
all
even
I
the fact
say.
that you said it could happen is just
Hey,
like,
Mike White threw for 400 yards against the Bengals. If
okay,
that can
that's a
happen, anything
completely
happens.
like.
That means
Different
any-
quarterback.
All right. No,
That's
I just
probably
said,
the
okay.
most unlikely stat line in the recent NFL history. by the way.
Exactly. That's why. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. But
Lightning was
anyway,
gonna-
I think
Lightning
we
was gonna
proved-
strike
I did. I
twice,
have to
no
admit, I
chance.
didn't think Flacco would be this bad. But he's completely immobile. He's completely a statue. It's just
He's
the
like
offense
40
can't
years old.
function with him, and I think that's going to be the difference. I think the defense will play well again against the Browns, who have Jacoby Brissett. But I just don't expect our Flacco to cope with Myles Garrett off the edge. So, hate to say it, but I think the Browns will win.
Yeah, I've had a very soft spot for the Jets, as we all know, but this to me is a clear Browns win. This is a very clear Browns win to me. That's all I gotta say, man. The quick
We
predictions.
need Zach back.
I do not have a soft spot for the Jets,
Yes.
All right, man.
but I do think this is going to be closer than you guys do.
No, I think
Because
it'll be close, but I think it's
I
a
don't
Browns
think
win.
the Browns are going to be capable of stopping the Jets' run game because I think their interior line is
That is
really
true.
bad. I think their linebacking core in terms of tackling is pretty mediocre, but I think overall the Jets' offense won't be able to generate much just through the pass alone because Joe Flacco's a statue. The
Mhm.
receivers didn't get enough separation.
Potato Joe. Just
It's
like
like
Potato
worse
Joe.
than Ben Roethlisberger, which
I
is
don't-
hard to do.
And then the Jets defense, you could say all you want that they looked good, but
They were
did
good.
They looked fine,
But
they
Serge was
allowed-
24-3, so
But
Yep,
yeah, but at the
49.
same time, it's hard
But-
when you're getting the ball back.
no,
Like,
I'm not
the-
saying the final score. That's why I'm gonna say at 1 Yeah, it was.
And-
At one
and
point, it
I
was
think the Jets
24-3.
defense played fine. I think for a first game of a pretty much completely new defense, it's a good start. But I don't think it's a good enough start to get a win against a team with Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones even.
Donovan
Kareem Hunt.
Peoples-Jones.
I mean, Devin Duvernay scored 2 long touchdowns against
That's
them.
true. That's true. That's
So
true.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is very capable of doing the same thing.
That was
I'm
like
gonna go
that was like
Browns.
Serge's random. Like I'm excited to see Camus Grugier.
He actually led the league in tackles
Camus-
today, by the way.
Let's go, Camus Hill.
Did he
Bro,
actually?
he
Oh my
did, yes.
God.
Bro, I told you, bro. You guys didn't see the vision.
Former
Oh.
Dolphin Camus Grugier Hill.
Serge, you told us. It's not like when me and Dylan addressed it. You were like, "Nah, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant." You were
This is
I'm sh-
exact. No,
you
no.
were,
I
you were
can-
confident
that's
the
what-
whole
that's
time,
the
right?
Exactly. That's the answer to diplomacy. You got to say I was kind of on the fence, and then when you're right, it's that you were a genius. And then when you're wrong, it'd be like, oh, I didn't mean it.
So you're lying.
No, I'm being smart. I'm not
Thinking
committing.
about
But if I'm right, then I was fully committed.
There we go. That's how it is. man.
Exactly. Okay, we're off
Defeat.
track.
No, I'm gonna have to agree with you all. I don't think the Jets are good enough to beat the Browns right now. I think that Myles Garrett's gonna cause a lot of trouble for the Jets passing game. And we're talking about the Jets running game as if it was something brilliant today.
It
I
was
really liked what Michael Carter did. I really like Michael Carter, but they only gave him the ball 10 times. And from what I saw, Brees Hall did not look very good. I know he was very involved in the passing game, but the fumble and Brees Hall just it didn't look productive enough for me to warrant like loads of attention on this Jets running game right now. I just don't think the Jets offense as a whole is good enough, even with a solid running game. I'll give them that. But I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with the Browns.
But there we have it. Again, that's the first sweep so far. But now we move on to another divisional game where we have two losers, not two losers. Oh no, the
loser
Colts
and a-
tied. Sorry,
a
a
loser
loser
and a
and a
tie.
tie. As the Colts face the Jaguars in a snooze fest. It's going to be a lot more interesting. They are very, 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 very boring. It is a very uninteresting Colts. Excuse me, I think. Oh, never mind. But did my mic like go in and out?
Yeah, it
Because I
went
got
out
a
for a
little- Yeah,
sec. I think
sorry.
it's
Sorry
good
to
now.
all the viewers. Sorry, excuse me.
Hmm.
But again, I think it was a Colts team that I expected a lot more. But that being said, I also really like the Texans. I think Davis Mills was fantastic. This guy I really do think could be a franchise quarterback. We'll get to the Texans when we get to them. But again, this is kind of a tougher game for me. And I've really been giving Trevor Lawrence slack. He just has not shown any kind of he's shown some, but it's
against
just,
the Commanders.
I mean, let's not forget this guy was the best, arguably the best talent to ever come out of college. You can either say since Andrew Luck or whatever, but some people are saying the best ever, and really just hasn't shown like any of that really yet. Not any of that. It's coming in kind of inklings, but I'm gonna go for the Colts here. I think the Colts win. I think it's a good defense, and that's kind of where I'm gonna go. And I was really talking about it today. I was like, the sophomore QB class just has not been very good. And again, it's week 1, so I know I'm going to get a ton of comments about that, but really like nothing, like there really was nothing in week 1 where it's like, wow, that guy looked like, besides Davis Mills, like that guy looks like he's going to take that step, but I'm going to go for the Colts here.
I think Jaguars, because I think they at least looked like a competent football team against the Commanders, and they were so close to winning. And I think B, more importantly, the Colts never win in Jacksonville. We saw it even when the Jaguars were at their lowest. They were awful. They were coming off the Urban Meyer reign, and the Colts just needed to win in Jacksonville to make the playoffs. They couldn't do it. And I know that was Carson Wentz, but Matt Ryan didn't look good either. So I'm just not convinced by the Colts. And until they win in Jacksonville, I have to see to believe it. Give me the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I think this will be the time that they break that trend. And I think the Colts will go into Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars, because I think that Jonathan Taylor looked like Jonathan Taylor. Now, you didn't really hear about it. This is not a game I watched. But Jonathan Taylor had 31 carries for 161 yards. That's 5.2 yards per carry. And if you're just going to feed him that ball, I don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to stop him. We've seen Jaguars play against Derrick Henry multiple times, and we've seen what Derrick Henry does to them. I think Jonathan Taylor will have another massive day against Jacksonville, and I don't think Jacksonville's offense will be able to score as many points as Jonathan Taylor alone. So I'm going to take the Colts.
I'm actually going to go Jacksonville here. I think Jacksonville, the way that they can set up this defense to stop Jonathan Taylor and cohesively defend Michael Pittman, who are the 2 players on that offense, I think they can figure out a way to stack the box with Trayvon Walker inside, and then figure out a way to get a slot corner and a normal corner on Michael Pittman. Then you're left with scrubs on the offense. And I think the Jaguars are able to do that. I think they should do that. And I think if they do that, they will win this game. I'm going Jacksonville.
All right, moving on to our next game. We have 2 winners, and that's the Miami Dolphins facing the Baltimore Ravens. Again, a Dolphins team that look good defensively, great. They get that turnover early. And again, offensively, obviously Tyreek Hill was fantastic. I think the run game adding in Chase Edmonds looked good. It's an offensive line that's looked, obviously, it's been worse. To say the least. Obviously, you add in Teron Armstead, and then again, it's kind of a receiving core. And they played the Patriots very, very well. There's a reason why Bill Belichick is 0-4 against Tua Tagovailoa, because they just know how to play against New England. And I think here's the thing. That was way too much praise to a Dolphins team for me for a day, but the Ravens will win this game. This is a Ravens win.
I respect that, and I am going to choose Miami. And it might be a little bit of my biases rubbing off.
And I don't hate it. I definitely think I don't hate it.
My reason for that is the Dolphins have destroyed Baltimore in Baltimore's own game. And I think they're capable of doing it again. And I think they're capable of doing it again with a better offense. So Miami was able to beat Baltimore at their lowest of lows last season. And now that they've added more, their defense is even more refined. Brandon Jones looks amazing. Javon Holland looks amazing. And now with Tyreek Hill, obviously, I think it's just a more ready team. Baltimore looks a little bit worse. I know they beat the Jets relatively convincingly. They have injuries. I don't think they're quite fully at their potential. I think I'm going to go Miami.
This is a tough one for me. I'm going to go Baltimore in a close one. And I think the problem is just because I think Miami's offensive line still doesn't really convince me. And I think the Ravens are going to be a team that really can get pressure. I know that firsthand. Obviously, Miami are better than the Jets, but they're still great at generating pressure. And I think Lamar is going to be able. He has a better offensive line, and they're not. I don't know if they'll score too many points, but I think they'll be able to hold Miami in check, especially with that flying secondary. I think they'll get a few guys back as well. So give me the Ravens.
Yeah, I actually don't hate the Miami pick, Dylan. I'm going to be honest. A little slow to pick the Ravens in this one, but I'm going to side with Baltimore. I just think that the reason that the Dolphins might actually be a good pick in this one is neither run games looked impressive. The Dolphins run game looked atrocious. The Ravens run game looked atrocious as well. That could be in part to the defenses, but I just think the Dolphins have much better receivers than the Patriots, and that's why, than the Ravens, and that's why I think that the Dolphins might stand a chance in this one. But I'm going to pick the Ravens. I know what the Dolphins did in Baltimore last season was really impressive, but now Baltimore will have seen that, and Baltimore will get a look on that and a read on that, and they'll be able to adjust much easier to it. I'm not saying they won't struggle with it a little bit, because what they did last time out was very, very impressive. But I think that the Ravens just have a better roster as of right now, and super key, they have Lamar Jackson. And I think when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, there's no defense that he can't, find his way through. And I think that Lamar Jackson's going to not necessarily have an easy time with this Miami defense. I know that they're good, but it's not going to be something that he's never seen before. It's not going to be what happened last time where Baltimore was just shocked by the Miami defense. So I'm going to go with Baltimore.
And now we move on to our next game, another divisional game, as the Buccaneers face the Saints, and the Saints looked down and out and somehow crawled back to beat the Falcons. And the Buccaneers obviously currently playing right now as we do record. But I think looking at this game, it was a Saints team that I was very shocked by. I think a team that we gave a lot of praise to. And me and Dylan, before the even summer started, we did a podcast, we, had a segment where we talked about the Saints and how we were kind of like had a revelation, like, wow, the Saints team is actually good. And again, that's not taking away from it. They're not good anymore. But I do think it was a little bit of a step back. Jameis got a little bit of that knock. That being said, a lot of positives to take out of the game from the Saints. Michael Thomas looked fantastic. Michael Thomas looks like the guy he was 2 years ago. Chris Olave looked good. Jarvis Landry, there wasn't much of him. And Alvin Kamara.
Jarvis Landry caught for over 100 yards.
Did he?
114.
Oh, I thought Chris Olave was, or I thought Landry was number 12. Excuse me. You're right. That's why I got it mixed up. But and then obviously Kamara was quieter. Kamara wasn't obviously the Kamara you expect him. But again, I think against the Saints team, it's a tough one. Always these divisional matches, the Saints have always found ways. But I'm going to have to go for Tampa Bay here. I think this roster is very good. But that being said, I think it's a Saints defensive line that can get to Tom Brady. This interior offensive line for Tampa Bay, really besides Tristan Wirfs, they are very, very undermanned. So I'm not confident picking the Buccaneers here, but that's what I'm going to go with.
We are again split up on this pick. I'm going New Orleans. And Tampa, I haven't seen them play it. I haven't watched the snap. I'm going to watch every snap of that game. But I thought New Orleans looked very impressive in the second half. Going down to a team like Tampa, Atlanta, sorry, and coming back in that fashion.
If we haven't seen that before.
Super impressive. But I think what New Orleans did that was super impressive was they were able to spread the ball out without just giving it to their main man. Usually when a team's down like that, they're giving it to the guy like Michael Thomas, or they're giving it to Kamara. They were able to spread the ball out, not panic, work their way around, and win a game against a weaker defense, but still a defense that was able to give them a matchup. I haven't seen Tampa beat New Orleans in a very long time in the regular season, and I don't expect it to end here.
Why do you say New Orleans like that?
Yeah, it sounded
hear that?
New Orleans.
I heard a little bit.
New Orleans.
Is
that wrong?
Orleans.
But
Sorry,
I'm gonna go with New Orleans as well, because I think they, like Dylan said, they've just had their number, and it's a very similar defense. Still, Dennis Allen is the defensive coordinator, and their offense, I know, it was the Falcons, but it looked improved. They really showed a lot of character to come back. I know it's the Falcons, but still, I think it was a really good come from behind victory, and I think they are still a very good complete team. That defensive line, like you said, Kian, it's very it's gonna kind of handle that undermanned Tampa offensive line. And I think Brady's gonna struggle with that, especially considering he's 45 years old. So I'm gonna give it to the Saints.
And once again, in a 2-2 split, I'm gonna go with Kian on this one. I think the Buccaneers are gonna win this one. I just think what the Saints struggled with today, Alvin Kamara touched the ball even less times than Christian McCaffrey, just 12 touches for Kamara, and he is, in my mind, the best player on that offense. I know it's great they spread the ball out, whatever, but Kamara is the best player, and sometimes you just have to rely on your best player. I know they've never used him so much in that workhorse fashion, but only 3 catches for a pass catching back is not the best way to utilize Kamara. I'll put it that way. I think that the Saints, what they really struggled with this week against Atlanta was Cordero Patterson in the run game. And Leonard Fournette's a better running back than Cordero Patterson. And I think they're going to struggle to defend Leonard Fournette next week against Tampa. I'm going to give this one to the Bucs.
All right. There we go. We're getting some diversity here. We're going to move on now to our last 1 p.m. window game, and that is the Commanders as they face the Detroit Lions. The Commanders obviously getting the win, the Lions falling short in a very high-scoring game to Philadelphia. This, again, is an interesting one for me, but I'm going to go for the Detroit Lions here. I think they showed – I was going to say they can defend, but they couldn't. But it's an offense. I feel like the offense was a little bit more in question. Obviously, whenever Jared Goff is under the helm, it's definitely more of a question mark. So I'm going to go for Detroit here.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Detroit as well. I think their offensive line looks really good. It is top 5 in football. I think the Commanders' defensive line isn't that great. So it's great. I don't know what am I saying, but without Chase Young, it's not as good. And I think it'll be good enough for the Lions. They showed a lot week 1. So give me the Lions.
I've been disagreeing a lot, and it's going to keep going. Washington Commanders, Jahan Dotson looked special. Terry McLaurin didn't look so good. Oh shit. I think they just looked better. The Lions didn't look like they can defend well. Looked like the same old Lions. Give me the Commanders.
Yeah, I could easily go both ways on this one. I think the Commanders are okay, but without using Terry McLaurin that well this week, I'm going to have to give this one to the Lions. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown looked fantastic. DeAndre Swift looked really good. So I'm going to go with the Lions on this one in what could be a very good game.
All right, and we move on now to the first game of the 4 p.m. window as we have a divisional matchup. Obviously, a game that would be much more exciting in past years, and it still is. But we have the Seattle Seahawks facing the San Francisco 49ers. And again, not as much of an interesting one. I think, again, a game that would be pulverizing if as I said, it was quite a few years ago, or, last year, the year before. But it's a 49ers team that I would have loved to see Trey Lance put up 30 against the Bears today. But again, the conditions is obviously an issue. You look at him, training before the game, he was throwing it and he literally couldn't, it would fall out of his hands. It was absolutely treacherous. I don't know if I've seen more treacherous conditions. It was absolutely pouring. Yeah, maybe a snow game probably, but raining wise, it was one of the worst I've seen. And again, Trey Lance just didn't look great. It's just the kind of rookie things. It's that first read, and you look at obviously the interception that Jackson had, and it's just that first read, and the safety easily reads those eyes, and he undercuts it. And obviously Trey Lance again looked good, obviously mobile, big arm, but I want to see him obviously, as I said, in a no severe environment, in a no severe climate, just regular Trey Lance, which I guess we really haven't seen in its true form yet. But I'm going to go to you guys first. I usually make my pick. I want to see what you guys have. Surge, what is your pick here?
Yeah, I'm not convinced by Trey Lance at all. He didn't look very good, but even with the conditions, I just doesn't really convince me necessarily as a prospect. Then again, could easily prove me wrong, but I just think that the good thing is they're playing the Seahawks, who I don't think are necessarily good, although they do often have the Niners number, but I think the talent gap is like too much to overcome. I think quarterback levels, Niners have a slight edge right now, but I think overall, I think the Niners are more talented. Give me the Niners.
I am so conflicted here because
I knew it.
I hate the way the Niners played. Overall, I think they played a terrible game.
It was in the treacherous conditions, although they might also not have Elijah Mitchell.
I don't care how treacherous the conditions are. You gave the ball to Deebo Samuel like 6 times the entire game. You didn't have anything going in the passing attack. Your best attacking move was running the ball with Trey Lance, and it worked out a little bit, but you lost to the Bears. I'm going to pick San Francisco because I don't want to be different on every pick. And I haven't seen Seattle play yet. And I think Geno Smith could be horrible, but I'm not convinced at all.
I am convinced. I think the Seahawks could make this game closer than it should be, considering how bad the Seahawks are. But unless something miraculous happens, I don't picture myself picking the Seahawks in any of these 18 weeks. I just don't think. I think they're the worst roster in the NFL right now.
No.
I think they are.
There's good enough pieces. Wide receivers, they've got a better.
Yeah, but your wide receivers are nothing with Geno Smith and Drew Lock.
That's not necessarily true. Good wide receivers make bad quarterbacks work.
They make them work, but they don't make them good.
That's true.
And
But
then-
that's what shows what a good wide receiver is.
And also the difference is if this was Devontae Adams we were talking about, okay, I might pick the Seahawks a few weeks this year. But DK Metcalf is not Devontae Adams.
That's what I was gonna say.
DK Metcalf is no game winner. Devontae Adams is a game winner. DK Metcalf is not that guy. He's just not. I don't mean it like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
But DK Metcalf is not the same kind of player as Devontae Adams.
and I'm not
Hopkins.
arguing that he is.
And
but
I just don't think that having DK Metcalf is going to change my outlook on the Seahawks this year. I think they're the worst roster in the NFL.
that's not the only good piece they have. They've got good pieces on offensive line now with Charles Cross. They've got good pieces on the defensive line now. The linebacking core,
Right, but
pretty
everybody's got a couple
but-
good pieces.
I don't think that. I don't want to just argue semantics.
I'm
at
just
this
a
point.
true believer that good pieces are nothing. Once the quarterback's there, all the pieces fall into place. And unfortunately, the quarterback's not there. So I'm going to go for Charlie. I think you definitely put it in perspective. I'm going to go for the 49ers here. But again, this could be an awful game.
Yeah,
I think I'm a very firm believer that Trey Lance we're going to see big things from Trey Lance.
And
this
I hope
season.
we do.
Everybody is.
We didn't
Everybody
see
is. I
him
don't
week
see it.
one.
I
We
don't
didn't see it
it.
week one, but I think that
Never
we will
seen
see I think we will see big things from Trey Lance this season. And what a way to prove it, other than go beat Seattle and in San Francisco, first home game.
Yeah. Did you pick Serge?
Yeah, I picked the
Okay.
Niners.
And now we move on to the Falcons and the Rams. The Falcons were just there, and then they weren't. Unlucky for the Falcons, but Dylan, I don't know why that's funny.
No, it's not funny. I hate what I'm about to do.
You're about to pick the Falcons. Please don't.
I'm about to pick the Rams. And I was waiting to pick against the Rams this entire week because I wanted to yell about how horrible they played.
They played awful.
Oh,
They played
awful.
I think they played the worst game of football out of every team other than the 49ers.
In
I'd
context,
say the
of
Jets
how
played pretty bad.
Yeah, and the Jets. That's
In
fair.
context
And-
of-
No, defensive wise, we played better, but
But
offensive
I
wise.
just don't. I
Well, no,
think the
in
Rams did
context of you
where
just
the
won the
Rams-
Super Bowl.
I don't,
yeah,
I
in
don't
context
know
of expectations.
how a team with that much star power could play that badly. And I can't pick them to lose.
It was
this
just
game.
Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson did nothing. Cam Akers did nothing.
No
But to be
separation.
fair, you look at the all 22, and Allen Robinson had several
separation.
routes where he was open.
No separation. He ran, I think, 50% hit routes. It was.
But
Really?
I think what we didn't talk about and was which I don't understand is how big of an impact that Von Miller and Odell Beckham loss would be.
Yeah.
I think that Von Miller loss, now looking back at it, I'm like, how was I not like, obviously that's going to be a massive loss. The reason they were so good and literally the reason the Rams won the Super Bowl is because Aaron Donald had a one-on-one and was able to get to Burrow and disrupt the throw. Because when you have Von Miller on one side, when you have Leonard Floyd on the other, it's physically you can't double team and leave one of those guys unblocked. So I think, again, looking at it, I don't understand, why we didn't see that. And it literally shot us better. This is not the right thing, but it literally, came right back at the Rams because Von Miller was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. He revolutionized, because what we've talked about is the Bills have never really had a true edge. No, that's not true. But in the recent years, they've never had like a true getting to the quarterback edge, and Von Miller completely changed that. But I'm going to go for the Rams here as well. Again, if this was a better team, I would not pick the Rams. But, the Rams did not look good. Stafford it was so funny. The two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks arguably had two of the worst performances out of quarterbacks in week one. So I'm going to go for the Rams here, but I think the Falcons can make it a good game. The Falcons did not look bad in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. Falcons didn't look bad, but I think the Rams, even though they looked awful against the Bills are arguably the best team in football. Going from the Bills to a Falcons is a huge jump. And I think the Rams should rebound. I'm not convinced by them. I don't think they're going back to the Super Bowl, but they'll beat the Falcons. Give me the Rams.
Yeah, so I don't want to dabble on this for too long. I think you guys said most of what needed to be said. However, I am going to say that I just think it would be a very Rams thing to do, to come off of a Super Bowl win and then go 0-2 to start the season. 0-2 to start the season.
That is true.
So I'm going to pick the Falcons in this one. Call me crazy. I had the best record in predictions last season, so I can afford to drop a game if I want to. I'm going to pick the Falcons in this one. Don't want to talk about it.
And
Just
you'll
gonna pick the
get
Falcons.
clipped if it's a blow.
If
I will get.
I'm
I will
not
take the
mistaken,
clip.
Yeah.
I believe that Surge had a better record than you last year.
I don't remember exactly.
Serge
what
did.
the
No,
record
I had
was.
Serge did.
I had the best record.
Surge
last
had the
year.
best, but who's counting, right?
I hope I
And
do. When I win, I'm counting.
yeah.
When I'm
Now
losing,
we
it doesn't
move
matter.
on
Okay,
to
switch.
the next game where we have quite a good one. It's getting better. We have two obviously losers, but two still very good teams as the Cardinals face the Las Vegas Raiders. And again, it's a good one. It's
we were just
I'm just
talking
gonna. I'm
about
saying,
this.
isn't that
Were we?
convenient? We were talking
Yeah,
about
we were talking
because we
about
were
which
talking
team was
about when the
better.
Chiefs and Chargers beat up on those teams.
Oh,
Which team is
yeah.
worse?
Wow.
It's perfect.
This is actually perfect. Let's talk this
Wow.
out, Charlie. I think the
Yeah.
Raiders are going to walk away with this game. I
I
don't
agree.
think. Okay.
That was too easy.
I don't want to say walk away, but yeah, the Cardinals team didn't look good.
They didn't look good.
They didn't look good. The
I think-
offense looked okay, but again, it's a Chiefs defense that's not fantastic.
No, I thought the Chiefs
Devontae
defense was
Adams
good.
did not skip a beat. He
He did
looked
not.
just as good there as he looked in Green
But
Bay.
did you expect him to miss a
I
beat?
did. I did expect him to skip a beat.
I mean, you're different.
Devontae Adams.
mean,
bro,
you're
come
just-
on, man.
I
You're
mean,
tripping, bro.
Yeah.
the drop off from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr.
Is not.
Hey, according to Devontae, it's going from one Hall of Famer to another.
No, sir. He actually corrected himself. He corrected
Oh,
himself.
all right.
No, but it's not even. But I understand that if it was like someone like Cam Sims who was playing good above average with Aaron Rodgers that went to Derek Carr, but it's Devontae Adams who also
Yeah.
played with Carr in
I
college.
expected a minimal drop off. He looked the same.
He's still.
I did
still
not expect
Devontae.
any
He's still the
drop
best
off.
route runner in football.
I didn't expect any drop off.
And
Um,
getting more to the game point, how are the Cardinals going to be able to guard Hunter Renfro,
Yeah, no.
Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, and still account for the run game, which looks pretty solid?
Yeah, no. I'm going for Carr. I'm definitely going for the Raiders here. I agree.
Yeah,
I'm going
Raiders.
Yeah,
Not-
I'll take the Raiders. I will say Waller and Renfro didn't look super impressive, but Devontae Adams. I
Waller
mean,
hasn't
I
looked
just
impressive
traded
in a
for him
little
in
bit.
fantasy.
Yeah, Waller hasn't
Uh,
looked good in a while.
Yeah,
I'm
it's- yeah,
gonna
you're right.
have to go with the Raiders in this one. I just think they're a better roster. I don't love the Cardinals this year.
Yeah.
Mm.
We're all in agreement. That was easy. Now we move on to a better game. Or no, actually not a better game. You just say something
No,
you just don't
Texans
mean to
are
say.
elite.
I don't know why I say this, but the Texans face the Broncos. I still think it'd be a great game. You look at this 1 year ago. Obviously, this is Broncos. Actually, no, 1 year ago because the Broncos owned
Because
Russell
then
Wilson.
Andrew
It would
lost.
just be a horrible game.
It would just be no one's watching that.
But again, this is an interesting one. I'm such a big fan of Davis Mills. I give guys so much credit, especially you look at the context he's in the class he was in with the quarterbacks that were there, arguably the best quarterback class we've seen. And he goes in and he looks like the best quarterback from that class right now. And again, that's at this point, if you argue that, Dylan.
No, I think he has looked like the best quarterback from that class, especially going from this week. But that class has looked horrible. So in most
Yeah.
quarterback classes, he would-
But in context of how good they were coming out of college.
Yeah.
But this is a tough one. I actually do think this is closer. I think the Texans can pose a lot of problems to Denver. I'm still going to give it to Denver, who will play tomorrow night. But I do think it certainly will be a close game. Again,
Yeah.
give or take 2 scores or so. But again, still have to see this Denver team play.
I
But
said
I'm a big fan of the Texans. I really think the Texans can win some games this year.
the Texans
As I-
are really a real sleeper team. I think.
No, 100%. Them and the
Well,
Lions.
I think no one really saw that coming. I know they tied, but I don't think many people expected them to really compete with the Colts. They nearly won it. The defense looked great. Obviously, Grenard looked great.
There
I
you
think,
go. That's the other
yeah.
linebacker we were missing.
Yep. And I think as much as I hate to say it, though, the Broncos are such a complete team. Big fan of them going into this year, especially them being home. I think they will win this game. But I think the Texans could definitely put up a fight here.
as I have not seen the Broncos play, I saw the Texans play. I don't think the Texans played badly, and I like the Broncos roster more. I'm going to pick the Broncos. I'm not going to really dwell on it that much because I really don't have that much to say. I just think they're a better put out team. Russell Wilson should be a big upgrade on whatever they had at quarterback last year. If he's not, that's a real problem. And it'll be a pretty straightforward game for them. Not hating on the Texans, just being realistic.
Yeah, I think we've seen. I will say I agree. I think Texans might be one of the biggest sleeper teams in the NFL this year. However, I also think actually I will say that the Broncos might be the most overrated team in the NFL in my mind in this season. I think the addition of Russell Wilson, wow, massive. It might be the biggest trade in NFL history. Russell Wilson to the Broncos. I just don't think that Cortland Sutton is getting all of this hype, and I just don't think he deserves it. And Jerry Jeudy's getting so much hype, and I also don't think he deserves it.
Thank
And now they're without Noah
you
Fant,
guard
who I
them?
think
Would you guard them?
I think that if you put me in the end zone with both Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, I'm catching it 10 times out of 10. Regardless,
Certified
I just
Sutton
don't
Judy
think that
hater.
Sutton and Jeudy are that good. I think Noah Fant of the three of them is the best. And I think
And
Noah
no
Cortland
offense,
Sutton-
Seattle now.
and Noah Fant is gone. That's exactly my point. And I think
That's
that
a lie.
no, I think
Yeah,
Noah
that's a
Fant
lie.
is better
Don't
than
buy
Sutton
that.
and Jeudy.
You think
Yeah.
Noah Fant's better
Sutton-
than Judy and Sutton? You're lying.
I don't buy
I think
that.
he's a more
I don't buy
reliable
that.
target.
I think you're
He's-
crazy.
Sutton's a more.
That's crazy.
I think that
I
might
think
be.
he's
That
I
might
think
be
Noah
one of
Fant
the
is a more
craziest
reliable
things you've
target.
ever said.
Yeah, that's a
I
hot
think
take.
Alberto might be better than Noah Fant.
Alberto is nice. Alberto is
No.
Greg Dulcich is better.
You'll
than
see,
Noah
you'll
Fant.
see.
You'll see.
Nah, Charlie,
tomorrow,
that was
Greg
crazy.
Dulcich.
No, I think that Noah Fant is, we'll say, just as good as a target as Cortland Sutton and Jerry
crazy.
Jeudy.
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I don't think that's not me saying that I think Noah Fant is fantastic. I'm not high on Sutton and Jeudy at all.
Yeah,
I don't
neither
think
am
that
I, and I
either
still
of them are
think
that's
fantastic
Yeah.
players.
I
They're
think
better
that's-
than Noah Fant, man.
I am high on Judy. I think Judy can be a fantastic receiver.
I think it could be. We haven't seen it yet.
Judy.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it yet. But either way, I'm gonna pick the Broncos in this one because I know everything I've said that leads towards me picking the Texans. I think the Texans are underrated. The Broncos are heavily overrated, but I still think the Broncos are better.
All right. Well, now we move on to our next one, which could be the game of the week, and that's excuse me, no, it's not. So we Chargers Chiefs. One of the games of the week, and that's the Bengals facing the Cowboys. I think the Bengals will score more points, but I think the Cowboys will win.
Oh,
I saw that
Where
clip
we
today.
heard
I'm like, how the hell? Like, who's paying him? Like that's not like why are
ESPN,
we
they just
there?
want the hot takes. Like,
But that's sir,
basically-
that's
It's
not,
not a hot take,
That's
it's
It's
just
not a hot take. They
false.
want like not the hot takes. They want like the yelling, like the.
No, but Serge, that's
the man,
I don't
like-
think you understand. There's a hot take like what Charlie just said. Like,
No, I'm
where
not saying
just
it's a
like-
hot take. It's just like they want like yelling. They want clips. They want views.
But Serge, that couldn't have been clips. That had to be him just having like some
oh yeah,
mental...
that is just like.
Don't
what-
forget
in
the
general.
fact
was
that
a
Stephen A.
mental
Smith once said that he
breakdown.
was looking forward to a tight end versus linebacker matchup of an injured tight end and a retired linebacker. This is Hunter Henry versus Derek Johnson, who retired 2 years prior.
Oh
my
We
God.
know
Alright.
Stephen A's a buffoon.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's keep
I
going.
didn't even know about that. That's kind of worse. Jesus.
Me neither.
All right, but I
No,
kind of
it's
ruined
not.
it because this is actually a very good game. But I mean, it's gonna be a great game. You know, the Bengals, Cowboys. Obviously, the Cowboys still to play.
They
with
are
their
losing
new-
12-3 right now at
Yeah.
halftime.
with their new
Yeah, 4
fullback
field goals.
That seemed
Ezekiel
like a
Elliott.
snooze fest. I'm happy we're doing this right now.
5 field goals so far that game.
Oh, geez. But again, the Bengals looked pretty bad. Besides Jamar Chase, who looked fantastic, but Joe Mixon couldn't really get it going. The defense was
Joe Mixon looked great. Joe
not
Mixon was
really.
very important in the catching game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Not
They couldn't get the run game going.
No, yeah, that's kind of at least from what I saw in the red zone. It's just getting stuff, and then the offensive line, which obviously is better because that offensive line was decrepit, but it wasn't great. You know, it's still there's still an issue. Obviously,
there's work.
there's still work, which I thought it was pretty much solved. But this is a tough one. I'm gonna go for the Bengals in this one. I think they come back. I'm a massive fan of Jamar Chase. I think it's also a Bengals defense that kind of has the pieces, obviously with now a much weaker receiving core in Dallas. But again, this is a very unconfident selection by me, but I'm going to go for Cincinnati in a very close one here.
Yeah, wasn't very convincing from Cincinnati. They lost to the Steelers. Offensive line didn't really look great. Burrow did not look good at all. But Dallas right now, so far, they don't look great either. Dak Prescott, right now, it's like says he's like 6 for 16 with an interception and 53 yards. So
I've always
it's
been
the battle of the mid QBs in week 1. So
All right, let's not call Joe Burrow mid.
No, they're not mid. They're not mid. But week 1, they were mid.
Yeah, the week
But
one mid QBs. I see
The
what you're
week
saying.
1 mid QBs. But I think the Bengals are a more explosive team. I think they're a better team. So I think Dallas also, they're not really good at winning these kind of like these big games. Like I don't know. I just think the Bengals are a better team. So give me Cincy.
I hate to break this game. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna pick Dallas.
You always pick Dallas. Like
I pick
That's not a
Dallas
bad
quite often.
pick. Dallas is
I
a
think
good team.
Dallas are good, but I'm gonna pick Dallas because if Joe Burrow goes and does the same thing that he did last game, and I'm
yeah.
not necessarily saying he's going to, but T. Higgins is out. I think he had a concussion that
concussion
usually
protocol.
he
We don't
had a
know.
concussion.
Yeah.
I think
It was protocol, but I assume he has one.
I think that would
Yeah.
keep him out this week. If Joe Burrow throws 2 interceptions and Trayvon Diggs takes 1, that's back to the house. So
come on, Trayvon Diggs is horrible.
And Jalen Ramsey's not.
No,
Yes.
Dylan, I've admitted to you.
Yeah, I know.
No. But Jalen Ramsey is not horrible. First
I
of all,
know,
Trayvon Diggs was awful in training camp. Like Trayvon Diggs was awful.
He got burned by a UDFA.
But
right?
that being said,
Yeah, like it gets me so angry.
Trayvon Diggs.
Dylan
Like
or
he'll get a
Trayvon
pick and
Diggs?
take it to the
Yeah,
house
we
and
saw-
then
no,
let
we
up
saw 2
400
things.
yards.
We saw 2 things from Trayvon Diggs last season. That was a lot of interceptions and a lot of yards allowed. We saw 1 thing from him in this training camp, and that was a lot of yards allowed.
But that being said, I think the defense that Dallas have, and I know Pittsburgh scored on a pick 6. I think they had the highest scoring defense last year. I think they're capable of getting points on offense and defense, and I think they're going to win the game. It's kind of a stupid prediction, but I'm going to go with it anyway.
So I'm going to agree with you, Dylan. I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one because, as you said, Joe Burrow, it's not going to go unpunished twice. If Joe Burrow struggles as much as he did this weekend, the Cowboys are going to score a lot of points if he struggles as much. Now, I don't think he'll struggle as much, but I do think that, a lot of Bengals fans will be questioning, what they're doing to start the season if they lose this game. And I think it would be a crazy way to start the season if they went 0-2, especially because everyone's thinking they're going to be even better than last year. But I think that the point on Trayvon Diggs is, I'm going to be honest with the whole Trayvon Diggs conversation. I think, what did he have, 12 picks last year?
Yeah.
I think he was just in the right place at the right time. Like most cornerback interceptions, that when they're good cornerbacks, like they've read the play and they know where the ball is going to be and they go in and they intercept the ball. But Trayvon Diggs is either in the wrong spot and that leads to a touchdown, or he's in the right spot and that's a pick. And I think it might just be a coincidence. Like I think he might
picks,
just
it's hard.
12 picks, but he's in the right spot 12 times a season. Like,
But
that's not so hard to fathom.
corner.
Bro, quarterbacks were
It could,
throwing
but
it
it
to
doesn't.
him several times a game because he's horrible at covering receivers.
And that's
then
probably
one
why he was
time,
getting. That's probably
would
why
pick
he's
it
getting the
off.
picks. That's probably
It
more
is
why.
absolutely
But I don't think it's
undebatable
right place.
that he
right
has wide
time.
receiver hands. So you throw it at him, you're taking the risk of throwing an interception.
My theory
Or
Or
is
they're
you're
not throwing it at him, they're throwing
My-
it over his head.
my
Because that's
idea
where their
is that-
receiver is.
But he is an incredibly skilled corner on the ball. He's tracking the ball down and he's making plays on it. Sometimes he gets burned.
It's a shame he doesn't track the receiver.
Sometimes he gets burned more than
Yeah.
sometimes.
My
gets
my
burned. He gets
theory is
burned.
that he's just like, he doesn't have great. He's not good at actually covering the receiver, but when it's thrown, he has amazing ball skills.
I agree.
It's
That's
gotta
exactly
be-
what I'm saying.
But he's not a good cover,
I
and
agree.
that's a pretty important part of being a corner.
Like, it's so
It's
confusing.
kind of all of it.
Yeah.
Where I
well,
stand
ball
with
skills are
this,
important.
and
Ball
I think we
skills
could have a big
Ball skills are
podcast
important,
But
I'd
segment.
rather
JC
be good at
Jackson's a
cover-
perfect
I'd rather have like a
example.
lockdown.
JC
corner than
Jackson's
that.
a perfect example of someone who can lock down and also great ball skills. And Xavier Howard's a perfect example of that.
And I think an even better
And
example
Darnay
just
Holmes
to
is a perfect
compare
example of that.
is I think a better example just to compare and see which one you would rather. Now, I'm not saying I'd rather a Dory Jackson to
Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs, but Adoree
I
Jackson
would.
is an excellent
You'd say
coverage
that.
corner who has really bad hands. He does not come up with interceptions, but he's able to cover just about any receiver you match him up with.
the
Trayvon
same.
Diggs is the opposite.
Mm.
And
Bro,
it
he's
just depends
so
on which one
bad.
you'd rather have.
Here's where I
He's
stand, though.
horrible.
It actually
And
gets me so
I
angry.
I acknowledge that he is not a skilled cornerback,
But
but
then
I
how?
think
How
I
does he get?
think that him getting the ball back for the Cowboys more than 10 times made him a positive contributor. to
yeah.
the team. So
All right. Well, that's where we
He
have
actually
it. Well,
got him the
let's-
ball back a lot of times because he got them the ball back by letting in
by the
touchdowns.
touchdown.
Like it lets them have the ball.
He just gets them the ball back every
He gets
single
them the
time.
ball back. He does
but,
whatever he can.
Oh, yeah. But let's move on now to the. Oh man, that was a good one. Let's move on now to the Bears and the Packers will win. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the
The
Packers
Bears
will win.
play terribly. The Bears are not have a good
So
I
do
game.
mean,
the
it's the conditions. Like
Neither
you're
do the
obviously not going
Packers,
to get.
but let's be honest.
You're not gonna
Aaron
get-
Rodgers is not losing to a Bears team that looks like this.
Yeah, he does. Does own the Bears.
No, but
And I think-
I wanna. The Chicago fans, they deserve the aha that they're giving a lot of people saying they would be the worst team. The Bears were pretty awful today. It was a pretty
No,
terrible.
They
No,
were.
I'm with
I mean,
you.
of course, I think every team is going to look awful in those conditions.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think that's true though. I think
I don't.
teams
It
that
doesn't
are,
matter.
I
They
think
look-
maybe the Bills
I think
don't.
teams
Maybe
that are
the
committed
Chiefs
to the
don't.
run and capable of changing up the game plan every once in a while will make that work. The Bears weren't able to do that. The 49ers weren't able to do that. It made it an unbearable game to watch.
49ers
No pun
have a
intended.
pretty versatile playbook. They got Kyle Shannon's an amazing play caller.
But they didn't use it. They gave Elijah Mitchell got hurt, which was the real problem.
That's
So
true.
they were giving the ball to Jeff Wilson, and they were giving the ball to Jawan Jennings on jet
Shouldn't
sweeps,
have cut Trey Sherman.
and they shouldn't have. And they
Yeah.
ran the ball to Trey Lance. But going to my pick, I'm going to pick the Packers. They looked horrible though. And
Yeah, I think the Bears look better than the Packers week 1, but then again, it's rain.
everyone has
It's
this
gonna be
Packers fit. that
Everyone,
we want.
Packers always have this week 1 meltdown, then they recover the next week. I think I like Justin Fields. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but at the same time, the Packers are still a better team. 2 really bad receiving corps. The difference is the Packers, I think, they don't have that many other weaknesses. Maybe the offensive
think
line.
just
The offensive line didn't look good, but I think overall Packers are a better team given Packers.
I'd just like to take the moment to acknowledge the back shoulder throw to Dante Pettis across his
That was
body
amazing.
after scrambling around in the backfield for probably 5 seconds. That was unbelievable. Justin Fields has the 49ers number.
All right.
Okay, so I am gonna say I have to disagree with what you're saying, Dylan. I think you said that the Bears are very committed to their run game. Yes.
No, I said
I
if
heard
they
that
were
correctly?
committed. No. I said they weren't. I said if they were committed to
They
their run
were
game, they would've
totally
won.
committed. They ran the ball 37 times.
Yeah, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Well,
right. I mean, Dylan, look
They
at
ran
the
the ball
conditions. You think they're
37
throwing the ball?
times.
Yeah, they threw it 18
But they were throwing the
times.
ball a lot more than
17
first half.
times.
Yeah.
They threw the ball 17 times and ran it 38.
They couldn't run the ball though. Monty did nothing.
And
And that's what I'm
that's-
saying. If
nothing.
they were
That's what I'm
so
saying.
committed to the
Khalil
run
Herbert
game,
was better.
maybe they should
Herbert
be.
did do well.
That's what I was saying.
That's
though.
it. Because David Montgomery averaged 1.5 yards per carry on 17 carries.
Yeah,
Why
okay,
are they
yeah, that-
even
that-
letting him have the ball that many times?
That was that was missaid by me. They were committed to the run game, but they didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
I
Well,
also hate that no Bears receiver had more than 1 catch.
That's so
Again,
funny to
it's-
me.
it's
Because
like
Justin Fields
pouring.
only
That's like-
completed
it's like
8
Hastings High School
passes.
numbers.
But
It
that's like-
is.
but it's at the same time, it's pouring rain. Like you can't expect
Okay,
much.
but you've got to be able to rely at least a little bit more heavily on one player.
There it is.
Who did they rely on? Who's the one
Nobody.
guy?
Nobody.
But you said, oh,
It
I
was
thought you said
Khalil
like they
Herbert
relied
at the
on
end.
one guy.
No,
and
they
then they
didn't.
didn't
No,
rely
they
on
should
anyone
be
else.
able to a little bit.
Yeah. But let's move on now to the Monday night game. That's at 7.
Oh, yeah, I didn't say actually.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
the
I
Sunday
didn't say.
night
I'm going
game?
for
Charlie has the
Packers.
Packers.
That's
Thank you
the
guys.
Sunday
I have
night
the
game.
Packers.
But let's move on now to the Monday night game. Sorry. Oh, that's a Sunday night game. Bears Pack. Wait.
We
there's
have two Monday night
games.
games.
Excuse
Yeah, I
me.
don't understand why it's this week.
So the first one's at 7:15. Second one's at 8:30.
2 solid games.
2 good games. The first game we have the Titans against the Bills.
Actually, maybe not.
Yeah, I was gonna say if the Titans just lost to the New York Giants, the Bills looked absolutely
They
fantastic.
looked amazing.
Like absolutely fantastic. I think they handedly beat the Titans.
If
Yep.
I wasn't
The rim.
disagreeing with you guys so much, I might call an upset alert here, but I'm not going to do that because the Bills looked flawless. But the reason that I think this is going to be a close game and I potentially think the Titans can win this game is because the Bills can't stop Derrick Henry. They've played against him so many times,
true.
they haven't been able to stop him. But I'm
But
going to
Derrick
pick
Henry was stopped by Tay Crowder today.
Bro,
and
Tay Crowder.
I
Crowder
credit
is
the
Derrick
Giants
Henry.
so
Yeah.
heavily. But the
Better than
Bills
Trey
just
Lance.
looked flawless. They didn't make, other than the one interception from Josh Allen, one of them was just an unlucky deflection off
Yeah.
of Isaiah McKenzie's chest plate.
Mhm.
Haha, you deserve that for destroying the Dolphins that one time. But they were flawless. There was nothing they could have done any better than they did, and the Titans won't be able to match that.
Yeah. If the Titans couldn't handle the kind of the Bills play calling with the Giants offense, they're not going to be able to handle the Bills play calling with the Bills offense because that looked like an unstoppable machine right there. And I think Derrick Henry, I think he'll have a good game. But it's not enough to keep up with Josh Allen, with Stephon Diggs, not gonna say Gabe Davis. I still think he's overrated.
Same.
But
Yep,
Same.
I think but overall, I think the Bills are just such a good team. Give me Buffalo.
Yeah, so just hold your horses for a minute. These two teams faced off last season. and the Titans won in a very close one in a 34-31 game because Derrick Henry had 20 carries for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, here's the difference. The Bills are a whole lot better than they were last year. Like, I don't know that they added many key players, but they just are better. Josh Allen is better. Stephon Diggs is, Stephon Diggs. Devin Singletary is better. Devin Singletary looked really, really good against a good Rams defense. I just have to pick the Bills in this one, even though I think Derrick Henry could have a field day against the Bills, even though this Bills defense is really, really good. But Derrick Henry could have a field day against any defense in the league. So I think it's going to be up to the Bills offense whether or not they can outscore Derrick Henry, which they were unable to do last season.
But now we move on to the next game where we have the Vikings facing the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles getting a scare today as they almost lost to the Lions, 38-35, highest scoring game so far of week 1, but obviously electric game. I think, defensively we expected a little bit more. James Bradbury got a pick 6, which obviously as a Giants fan is hard to see, but also happy to see that, he's succeeding. And then the Vikings, got the win. I think it was actually a game, which funnily enough, I think I predicted the Packers. I might have predicted the Vikings. I know 2 of you predicted the Vikings. I think Dylan, you did it. Or no, sir.
I picked the Vikings.
I picked the Packers.
Yeah, I think I picked the Packers as well. But Vikings are great. Justin Jefferson looks absolutely phenomenal.
He could be,
so
much hype.
That's just kind of where I'm at with it. He looked great. And I think this is a tough one for me. I'm going to go Philadelphia, though. I think Philadelphia and I think they win this game. They looked really good. I think defensively, it was a little bit shaky there, but I think they'll kind of tighten up the edges and beat Minnesota in week 2.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay.
Basically, I'll go. Again, I've been a huge Eagles fan since the training camp started, and I think Jalen Hurts, he looked really good. He looked kind of ready to take that jump. I don't know his exact stats, but he put up not 38 because they got one. He was 18 for 32 for 243 yards, and he also had 90 yards on the ground. That's the definition of an elite dual threat quarterback. And they've got the best offensive line in football. They now have a true number 1 receiver. Devontae Smith is good, but he wasn't that last year. You can't guard A.J. Brown. And I think Minnesota, they're a great team. I think they have a chance as well to go to the playoffs, but I just think Philadelphia, they're such a complete team. I think it'll be an offensive game, though. I think Justin Jefferson could go off again, but I think he will go off again. He's Justin Jefferson, but I think at the same time, Philadelphia are just a bit more complete. So give me the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I mean, I drafted Justin Jefferson, pick number 3 in our fantasy draft, which I was called crazy for at the time. But Justin Jefferson is starting his MVP campaign, or he started it today. I'm not saying I think he's going to win it, but I think after today, if he can keep going at, this pace, he's easily MVP. But, he's obviously going to take a step down. He's not going to do this every single week. But even a step down from this, and he's still winning MVP this season because Justin Jefferson is just that good of a player. A.J. Brown also had a phenomenal week. I really liked what I saw from A.J. Brown today. No touchdowns, no passing touchdowns from the Eagles, but 4 different runners brought the ball into the end zone for the Eagles, which I don't know if I like that or if I dislike that. It's a very, running back by committee in Philadelphia. We saw that last season. We'll see it again this season. I'm sure of it. But I'm going to go with Minnesota in this one because I just think Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson are going to be too good for this Philadelphia defense to handle.
I'm going to go Minnesota for a different reason, and it's that Philadelphia scored 38 points last week, right? Or this week, right?
Yeah.
Against the Detroit Lions. I don't think they'll do that again against Minnesota.
I agree.
Philadelphia let the Detroit Lions score 35 points against them.
Hey, the Lions aren't that bad.
I'm not saying the Lions are that bad, but I think Minnesota's offense is electric.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Minnesota's offense is better than Detroit's.
Yeah, if you let Detroit score 35 points against you, even if you're up by a lot and you're letting them score as the time is going on, Justin Jefferson's killing you. Adam Thielen's getting touchdowns. Kirk Cousins is diming across of you. Like there is
Dalvin Cook's going to run all over
Dalvin Cook's going to run all over you. There's too much depth on the offense I guess it's kind of the same reason, to be able to give 35 points up to the Lions and expect to have a better game against the Vikings. You're not going to do that. Give me Minnesota.
All right, there we have it. That was insanely long.
Yep.
Another weekly predictions. Don't expect them to be that long. That was like almost an hour and a half. But we hope you guys did enjoy as always. If somehow you made it to the end, which sometimes people say they do, and I don't understand how people listen to us talk for that long. But congratulations. If you made it to this long, you might as well subscribe, because if you're watching an hour and a half of high schoolers talk about football, you must have enjoyed. Follow us on social media at TheeSportsScoop. We post clips, stuff like that. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you follow us over there. And as always, as I've said, make sure you guys do subscribe, because we will hopefully be getting some live streams in soon with games, kind of doing some commentary for games and hopefully other stuff like that. And obviously, I mean, soon enough, we'll be getting draft. That's crazy to me to think, but draft content will be coming soon. It's all coming out. The NFL season started, so that's when our channel obviously starts to ramp up. So make sure you guys stay along with us for our third season. Kean McDermott, Serge Crowley, Dylan Shalom, Charlie Nidell, NFL Week 2. We'll see you for Week 3. Let us know what your picks are down below, and we'll see you next time.